Hey YouTube, how's it going? Venomman20 here tonight. You know, it just kind of dawned on me. I haven't uploaded a Bushmaster video in a little while. So tonight we're going to take a look at a couple different sized Bushmasters that I work with. These are all black-headed Bushmasters, so if you enjoy the species, stay tuned.
All venomous snake handling in this video is performed by a professional. Please don't try anything you're about to see at home.
So it's that time again where we have to do some cage maintenance on these beautiful little black-headed Bushmasters. So this first one that I'm showing you is actually a tiny little black-headed Bushmaster. This guy is very small, probably about 12 inches in length if I was to guess. This is actually this year's baby, just a tiny little guy. This is a captive born and bred specimen. Of course, I've said this before, but if you haven't seen the videos, the black-headed Bushmaster was once noted to be the rarest viper on Earth. That is no longer the case. We know that there's snakes like the long-tailed rattlesnake that's actually quite a bit rare because there was less than 100 specimens of that species ever found. As of now, these are extremely rare and very reclusive. They're only found in the Costa Rican jungle, and they're just a very, very neat species. But these guys are extremely toxic, and this guy is honed in. If you look right there, you can see his heat-seeking pits kind of locking onto my movement as I walk through the room, back and forth. He's using that tongue flick to try to figure out if I happen to have any food, because these guys are extremely food aggressive. So a lot of people that are actually walking through the Costa Rican jungle will be carrying like lanterns, and they actually get bit on the hands by these snakes because these snakes see the lanterns and they're thinking it's food because of the heat register. So as you can see, he is just a little guy. Very cute though. Not quite as bad as the adults food aggression wise. You can still kind of tell that he's a little bit nervous compared to the adults. The adults seem a lot more confident in their abilities. These little guys are kind of timid, you know, with that size. I mean, they could be easily predated upon by predators, so it kind of makes sense. But you gotta love the pattern on them. They're just gorgeous. And this guy's about ready to go into shed, so he isn't looking real pretty. But he doesn't have the glazed over eyes yet, but he will soon enough. And as you can see, his color is a little bit opaque. It isn't real jet black yet. But just a very, very neat little guy. I mean, just tiny and adorable. Just love to pick him up, but needless to say, I can't. So this specimen right here is probably about a 4-foot Bushmaster. And I love the contrast on this. Like, this is a dark animal. You look at that top and that black is black. Not only that, those side hourglass shapes are just very light complected, kind of orangish, just a good looking snake. And I don't know if you can see here, but this guy actually has very rough scales. So I was reading a book about Ditmore, the famous herpetologist in the 1900s, and they actually called these guys, or the natives called these pineapple snakes because of their real rough scales. And later on, I will actually do a close-up where you can see his scales real close. And they're not necessarily keeled like a lot of snakes, keel meaning ridge running through the middle, but they definitely are kind of humped up, which when you grab them, it feels extremely rough. Like it's one of the roughest feeling snakes I've ever touched. It's just amazing how they feel. Every time you touch them, I mean, needless to say, it's a pretty rewarding experience, but at the same time, it's so dangerous. I mean, these guys are... One Costa Rican study said that 4 out of 5 people bitten passes away. And another study says that right at 69% of people bitten by these guys, regardless of medical treatment, passes away. Before anti-venom, it was speculated that no one lived. I mean, they are a toxic snake. And if you see, he has just like a little tiny piece of stuck shed right there on his tail. It just didn't come out until the last shed cycle. If it don't come out in the next one, we'll have to do a little bit of intervention and try to get it off, but it should definitely come off. I'm not sure exactly why it's stuck right there, but they actually kind of have a sharp little point on the end of their tail, so it could have actually got caught up on that. Some people have asked me in the past, you know, are these rattlesnakes? Because I see them rattle their tail. And no, they are not rattlesnakes. Now, a rattlesnake is a pit viper, and these guys are pit vipers. So they are closely related. You know, at what point did they branch off evolutionary-wise? I'm not exactly sure. But most species of snakes, when agitated, when they feel like they are being threatened, will rattle their tail. It was long speculated, you know, like snakes that live within the range of the rattlesnake will actually rattle their tail, hoping to hit leaves, so then other animals think, oh, that's a rattlesnake, I better not mess with it. But nowadays, I don't know, looking at other snakes that don't live within the range of the rattlesnake still doing this same thing to try to scare off predators or possible predators, I don't know that that's the case, that they're all relating to the rattlesnake. I mean, even some of your Asian snakes will rattle their tail, not as consistently, but some of them will even rattle their tail trying to stir up the leaves and scare off the animals. So I don't know exactly if it's just like a, hey, look over here, I'm right here, don't step on me type thing or what. But here you go, you can actually see the scales close up. This is the closest I've ever filmed a Bushmaster. Needless to say, I wasn't holding the camera at this point, so the focus might be a little bit sketchy. But it's not really necessarily like a ridge, it's just kind of a rounded scale. But it feels very weird because they actually have skin between the scales. The scales aren't heavily overlapping. Just very neat. I mean, they're unlike any other viper in the world. And they are confident. I mean, look at this guy. He's serious. He's like, try me, try to tail me, touch me. I dare you to touch me. And I'm trying to tail him because I want to help support the girth. I don't like using a hook on the animal. I don't want to free handle the animal. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing that. But you just got to be very careful because these are probably one of the most fragile snakes on earth. Back in the 1900s when Dittmar was trying to keep these, it was almost impossible. No one was keeping these with success. Nowadays, we've kind of got it dialed in. We kind of understand, but they are for sure fragile. Well, here's a little guy to finish it off. Looking at you guys, getting ready to say goodbye. I appreciate you checking out this video. Make sure you show your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it because we will be doing more updates on these beautiful little critters that I get to work with. Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful night.